Well, howdy, and welcome to Conversations with Coyotes. My name is Bravado, I am a coyote, and this is The Conversation. Here we are, folks, week 3 of 4 weeks of sneaks. We can do this. We got this. This week, the focus is on the alarmingly low number of shoes in my closet that don't bear a swoosh or Jumpman somewhere on them. This was a surprisingly difficult episode to put together, but rather than waste any more time on formalities, let's just get going, and you can all see for yourselves. Okay, so let's start off with an oldie, and honestly a sneaker I forgot I even had until I was scrounging desperately through my collection to make this video. These are called the Puma 917, and they came out sometime in the mid-2000s. If your first thought is these are just a ripoff of some Chuck Taylors, well, yes and no. There's undeniably a lot of all-star influence in the profile and midsole especially, but if you look closer you can see a number of things that set them apart. Probably the most iconic design cue of Chuck Taylor's is that rubber toe cap, which is also my least favorite feature. Yep, I said it, I'm not into Chuck Taylor's. But here, Puma opted for a totally different, albeit not especially unique design, and instead of a full canvas upper, it's a nice mix of canvas and leather. Top it off with the ankle strap and a unique collar shape, and the neat way the gum outsole curves up at the back of the foot, and you've got a shoe that stands pretty well on its own. Next up, we got a shoe that kinda bridges the gap between the first video in this series and the second. These are the Vans Skate High MTE, and I bought them because I needed something a little more rugged for winter. MTE stands for, well, I don't know. Honestly, the point is that they're supposed to be a solid winter sneaker. Now, I've owned a good many pairs of Vans before these, so I don't really know what I was expecting. They do look nice, the detailing is on point, and I particularly like the herringbone on the collar, and they're fine enough to wear in snow, but like pretty much every other pair of Vans I've owned, the cushioning is minimal, and the lining at the heel has all but worn away. I haven't had these that long, and I haven't worn them that much. That's not to say I don't still like them, but they're just not particularly comfortable, an important consideration now that my commute, when it exists at least, is entirely on foot. Now on the other hand, these are really comfortable and also terrible to wear in the winter. This is the Converse All-Star Pro BB, and it's probably the only All-Star that I'll own for the foreseeable future. The silhouette debuted in mid-2019, and right away I really loved what they did with it. It takes some neat cues from the standard Chuck Taylor, like the hint of a toe cap and the Converse badge on the ankle, and wraps them in a fresh and modern performance shoe. This particular colorway launched right before Christmas, and I thought I ordered them on launch day, but then I couldn't find the order confirmation, so I talked to Converse and they didn't have an order and I had to reorder it, although it really wasn't a reorder since I hadn't ordered it before, but fortunately nobody cared enough about them for them to sell out, so everything turned out fine. I don't know why people wouldn't be all over a lime green basketball shoe that glows in the dark, but that's their loss. Now I have a confession to make. I did say this video was about shoes that are not Nike, but Converse, in case y'all didn't know, is owned by Nike, and these shoes benefit from that. The upper uses something called Quad Fit Mesh, which you can find on other Nike performance shoes like the Kobe NXT. But what's really interesting is the cushioning. The shoe features React, which I've talked about before, and that in itself is not anything particularly remarkable. But the implementation is. Instead of using a standard insole and having the main cushioning integrated into the midsole of the shoe as you'd expect, the insole of this shoe is the cushioning. Let me show you. This is the insole. As you can see, it's got both the Converse and Nike React branding, but more importantly, it's thick as heck. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I'm sure this ain't the only shoe to do it, but it is a fascinating approach to sneaker construction, and it certainly is comfortable, so mission accomplished. I know that there are very few footwear and clothing companies out there that can be supported without some sort of moral dilemma, whether it's due to their politics or business affiliations or manufacturing conditions or any of that. I understand. And we all have to draw the line on what we're personally willing to put up with. It's for that reason that I haven't really looked at Adidas shoes for quite a while, partially because Kanye. It's hard to put into words exactly what my feelings are about him now because he's been all over the spectrum in terms of what he says and does, but in short, I haven't really been much of a fan of his since before he left Nike, which is also kind of the same time that Yeezus came out, and well, yeah, I miss the old Kanye. And while his Air Yeezys are some of the most coveted sneakers ever, Ye's partnership with Adidas has pushed his influence to stratospheric levels. The 350 set a new bar for what a minimalist sneaker should be, and the 700 helped catapult the dad shoe back into the mainstream. So here we are, 5 years after Kanye's first Adidas shoe release, with the only Yeezy, and in fact, the only Adidas shoe I own, the Yeezy Boost 700. For me, this shoe is the epitome of a love-hate relationship. I don't think there's any other sneaker that I've felt so strongly about, and about which my opinion has changed so dramatically. I just did not get it. And honestly, I still don't, but here we are. Now to be fair, some of my issue with the 700s, and really Yeezys as a whole, is their really odd and often very, very sedate colorways. And when they weren't boring, they were just kinda weird, like with the Wave Runners. But that's fine. Everybody likes different stuff, and a vast majority of the Yeezy colorways just ain't my thing. But sometimes it does hit just right, and this particular one, called simply Mauve, is one of those times. For me, it's got just the right amount of actual color to offset all that neutral, and the contrast between the different neutral materials really does a nice job showing off the crazy lines of this shoe. One of my favorite touches about the 700s is that, being Adidas, they do have the 3 stripes on them, but they're made of reflective material and hidden behind this mesh, so they're not immediately obvious. One of my least favorite touches of the 700s is just how goddamn wide they are. I wasn't unprepared for a chunky shoe, but these proportions really caught me off guard when I tried them on the first time. Still though, I'm looking forward to wearing them someday. For now, all I can do is sit here and look at them. At the same time, the tags are still on, just in case I change my mind again. Okay, we've got a breaking Kanye news alert. So, literally the week that I wrote this, a tweet started circulating that suggests Kanye was just playing the long game and really is a stand-up dude. As of recording this, I can't say anything further, except I really hope that's true, and maybe the old Kanye is still with us after all. Now by the time y'all see this video, it'll have been about 2 weeks since I wrote it. I don't know what the state of things will be, and I've admittedly been avoiding addressing anything too specific in my recent videos, as they're not really intended as a response to current events. What I will say here, though, is that I'm an advocate for change whenever the end result is something closer to the justice and equality that we all deserve. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll catch y'all later. Nice.